God is always saying something. And I'd like you to look at the two scenarios. The scenario in Ezekiel chapter 37 and the scenario in Genesis chapter 1. What do we notice? We will notice, number one, that in these two scriptures, circumstances that we can call near impossible were presented. In Ezekiel 37, it was a valley full of dry bones. And you and me know that even in the New Testament, in the book of John, when Jesus attempted, I use the word attempt so I can draw your attention. When Jesus attempted by asking them to show him where Lazarus was laid so he could raise him, they told him that he had been 4 days down. By this time, he stink. Now, in this valley of dry bones, we are no longer talking of dead person that was buried, that is stinking, that the flesh may still be around, but stinking. I like your attention to come to something. For Jesus to call Lazarus up, it was 4 days after. In other words, the flesh could still be around, rotting and stinking. But in the case of Ezekiel, the flesh can no longer be found. I think that the best place to experience this is at the slaughter, where they throw these bones and horns of cows that they have killed. And probably the one that has stayed for 6 months, 1 year. And you probably will pick it up to check it. Or those who dig grave and come across bones. The flesh is no longer there. If the one that the flesh is rotting, Jesus was told that it has passed the stage of miracle, healing, restoration, deliverance. What are we going to say about the one that the flesh is gone and the bones themselves are now dry and they were in the valley? So a situation near impossible is presented. In Genesis, there was voidness. There was emptiness. Let me use the word, there was nothingness. Everything was English. Nothing was in existence. Huh? Nothing was in existence. So, in Ezekiel, there's a near impossible situation of dry bones. In Genesis, nothing is existing and darkness has taken over everywhere, but a solution is needed. And in these two scenarios, what we see is the same. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God said, "Let there be firmament." And there was firmament. And God said, "Let there be this." And it comes into place. So when God took Ezekiel to the valley of dry bones, it was not because it was impossible for God to have himself breathed on those bones. But no, he wanted Ezekiel to be a partaker in the creation process. So he said to Ezekiel, can these bones live? And Ezekiel said, I don't know. Lord, only you know, because you made the bones, you made everything, so you know whether there is still life inside of them. And God said to him, do what I did in Genesis. And it's the same thing he's saying to us. And it will as simple mean that I have finished my message for this night. God said to Ezekiel, prophesy. In other words, bring the quickening word into place. Say the way I said in Genesis. That's all. Say the same way I said in Genesis. And it's the same thing God is saying to us. You and me are confronted in our own peculiar ways with certain situations and conditions. And God is saying the same thing he said to Ezekiel. Son of man. I'm a son of man. Are you not a son of man? Yeah, sure. Yes. Son of man. Prophesy. Bring the quickening word. In other words, Ezekiel, there is something you have. It is the quickening word. Bring it into place. Say the quickening word. Son of man, say the quickening word. This one requires a quickening. Say the quickening word. So Ezekiel responded by saying, and I said what I was asked to say. Did you get that interpretation? And I said what I was asked to say. So what's the difference between Ezekiel and us today? We are saying what we are not asked to say. For every challenge of life, there is available the right quickening word. For every challenge of life, there is available the right quickening word. Identifying that quickening word gives you the same placement of Ezekiel. And I said what I was asked to say. In the past 3 weeks, I've been monitoring a situation in Abuja. Now, my mommy in Uyo had her daughter go through an operation of a growth in the throat. From one complication to another, it finally meant that they want to operate on her. From this number of million to that number of million to that number of million. And the woman was crying to me on the phone. And I said to her, Mommy, remember where you are coming from. You have gone down with kidney and you are alive. They have talked about liver, you were swelling up and you are alive. Your daughter, her case is nothing compared to what you went through. Your daughter will live. When I said that, I called my cousin and sent the details to him to make sure that he can reach her for me in Abuja. On Monday night, that is last week Monday now, on Monday night, they operated on her. When I called her yesterday, I said, your voice is coming out loud. You will sing again. I don't want you to know every word in the Bible because it will be too difficult for you to know. Do you understand me? I'm trying to say that trying to put all of this together in your head may be very difficult. But one thing I have come to realize is that if you are constantly a friend of this, there is a word that you have seen before delivered to you. You don't know where it is. But when the hour of need comes, the author of the word goes to bring it